Hello and welcome to the Long Island weather outlook for this week. First full week of October, September 6th, 2024. We have a cold front coming our way. We also have three hurricanes to talk about, one that will threaten Florida. But you can see here, first of all, this cold front that's coming after a fairly decent weekend. Yesterday we had partly sunny skies to actually mostly sunny to partly sunny, the same deal today. And mild. Temperatures were above normal, but that is going to be coming to an end with this cold front that's coming through. As you can see, it looks like a pretty sharp cold front here, and it actually is accompanied by a line of showers and thunderstorms that may fizzle out. We'll have to see. This is our only chance of rain that we are going to have in the meantime. Let's just get over let's look at our statistics for the day here briefly. At Islip, a high of 71 at a low of 50, so 3 degrees above normal today. 3 degrees above normal for the high, 2 degrees above normal for the day. And again, only we're still very, very dry. If we look at yesterday's statistics, we had a high of 76 and a low of 56. That put us 6 degrees above normal for the day. But again, that will be changing. Let's look at our weather and hazards. I didn't even put this on the thing I usually do, but you'll see here that we've got freeze warnings up for the north, red flag warnings and heat for the southwest. And look at this, a severe thunderstorm watch actually in effect for parts of southwestern Pennsylvania. Looking at our temperatures, and again, they've cooled off a little bit here. Of course, the alley's still warm, but we got temperatures generally in the low 60s right now, so 57. The dew point is up to 57, so the dew points have risen a little bit. Let's get the highs and lows here. Highs, a little warmer in Jersey, actually a lot warmer. They were in the mid to upper 70s for Long Island, generally upper 60s and low 70s. Looking at lows, last night, wow, it did get cold in the Pine Barrens, 43 at West Hampton, 50 at Islip. It was a cool night, but of course not where I live. And they also had 40s in the New Jersey Pine Barrens as well for lows. That won't be happening tonight with the cloud cover and the wind that will be coming through, but it will get a lot colder once we start talking about this series of cold fronts that we're going to be dealing with. Looking at the weather map here, you'll see here's your cold front. Here's like a little low boundary, and that over there is Hurricane Milton. So let's get to the latest on the tropical situation. We have three hurricanes to talk about: Kirk, Leslie, and Milton. Three. Kirk, this is the track for Kirk. Yes, Kirk is going to be impacting Europe as some kind of post-tropical storm. That's pretty crazy right there. So we'll get all these other storms out of the way that aren't threatening the United States, and then we're going to be talking about Milton. So Kirk is spreading large swells across the North Atlantic. Increased risk of life-threatening rip currents continue along the U.S. East Coast. So we've actually hit some rough ocean from Kirk, believe it or not. As of 5 p.m., its location is 37.0 north, 46.2 west, about 1,050 miles west of the Azores. Maximum steam winds are 85 miles an hour, moving north-northeast at 23 miles an hour. Minimum central pressure, 961 millibars to 8.38 inches. And over the next few days, it is expected that it will become a post-tropical. But it is a large cyclone. Hurricane force winds extend outward up to 115 miles from the center, and tropical storm force winds extend outward up to 300 miles from the center. So that's why we're seeing some of those swells, mainly Atlantic Canada and the Bermuda. I mean, I don't see any small craft advisories on our weather and hazards map here, but this is the track for Kirk here. And we will be looking at satellite images of that as well. So let's go and take a look at that. And again, this cold front looking pretty impressive, by the way. But let's first talk about Kirk. Going to talk about all these storms. This is Kirk right here. It's definitely starting to look a little more extratropical, but man, what a huge storm this has been. That's a large storm, but again, that is definitely, you can see it's getting picked up and pushed toward Europe, and they're going to be dealing with that again. Somebody said, "Oh well, a friend of mine the United Kingdom won't have to deal with hurricanes." Well, that is going to change as we deal with more and more of the consequences of the climate changes that we're going through. So let's get down and talk about Leslie. Hurricane Leslie is also going to be out in the middle of the ocean. Just briefly go over this one here. Leslie heading northwestward as of 5 p.m. Location 14.0 north, 38.6 west, but 950 miles southwest of west of the southernmost Cabo Verde Islands. Maximum sustained winds are 90 miles an hour. Moving northwest at 9 miles an hour. Minimum central pressure 982 millibars. Small storm. Hurricane force winds extend outward to 15 miles from the center. Tropical storm force winds extend out to 115 miles from the center. Again, not a big storm like Kirk. Not in the same. But again, this is out in the middle of the Atlantic. So we're going to go ahead now and look at Leslie. And then we're going to be talking about Milton. So this is Leslie right here. Again, these storms out in the middle of the ocean. Not going to be threatening the United States. It's Milton. That's the one that we've got to worry about. So let's take a look at Milton on the satellite here and load this up. And that is already looking kind of scary. Yeah, look at the explosive development there. Wow. Look at those bright white cloud tops. There's a rapid strengthening going on right now with Hurricane Milton, and it's barreling toward Florida. So this is the main storm that I'm going to be focused on, all right? Hurricane Milton. This thing is going to be something that we really got to worry about. Milton is expected to become a major hurricane in the next day or so. Well, it probably will be by tomorrow. As of 7 p.m., its location is 22.5 north, 93.4 west, about 250 miles west-northwest of Progreso, Mexico, and about 780 miles west-southwest of Tampa, Florida. And that seems to be where the storm is heading. Tampa can't get over. They dealt with the storm. They dealt with it recently, just dealt with a hurricane, and now they're going to be dealing with another. Maximum sustained winds 85 miles an hour, moving east at 7 miles an hour. Minimum central pressure 981 millibars to 8.97 inches. So, as of 7 p.m., Milton is moving toward the east at near 7 miles an hour. All right, here's the key, though. On this forecast track, Milton is forecast to move just north of the Yucatan Peninsula and across the southern Gulf of Mexico Monday and Tuesday and approach the west coast of the Florida Peninsula on Wednesday. Maximum sustained winds are 85 miles an hour, and it is forecast to rapidly intensify. I think it'll be a Category 3 by the time we do tomorrow night. So we'll have to do weather updates every night, obviously, because of this on Milton. Hurricane force winds extend outward up to 25 miles from the center. Tropical storm force winds extend outward up to 80 miles from the center. Minimum central pressure estimated from Hurricane Hunter aircraft observations is 981 millibars to 8.91 inches. And this is not, again, Helene was not that long ago, Hurricane Helene. And yeah, Tampa got a glancing blow, but there was a lot of flooding. And here we go again. So let's take a look at the chart on this. And this is the cone right here. And you see it's heading for Florida. As a major hurricane, it's going to be making a major hurricane, and it's going to go right across the middle of Florida. This is going to be very bad for Florida, very bad for Florida. You can also look at the rainfall forecast here. See, there'll be a decent amount of rain out of this. The storm surge, the wind, all that stuff is going to be very, very bad with this storm, all right? We're going to be looking at all of that here. We're going to obviously be looking at some models here because this storm really kind of, this is going to be another, this storm may wind up being as strong as Helene, perhaps even worse than Helene. And that is definitely a big concern. You can see, again, there's a lot of development going on there. Let's just switch this over to the GLM flash intensity. You'll see what I mean here. Yeah, you see some lightning going on in the center. That is definitely a sign of a strengthening hurricane for sure, and a rapidly strengthening one at that. So we'll just look at the Poconos satellite view and just show you what's going on here. So see, here's Milton down here. Here's your cold front here. This is the nice air mass we're going to be getting into. Maybe a few wisps of smoke coming out of... I kind of made a post yesterday about that. Oh, yeah, you do see the smoke actually coming out of Idaho. There are wildfires going on over there as well. So if we go and look at that, I guess we do Northern Rockies. I guess that would probably be the zone for this, yeah. You'll see there'll be some fires here. You see, yeah, we got Idaho, we got Montana, we got Wyoming and Utah. Yeah, we got fires burning here. And you can see how look at how that one kind of just puffed up as the sun went down. Look at that. Whew. That's not good at all. So these fires continue to burn, but our flow is going to be coming more out of Canada, so I don't think we're going to be dealing with too much of the smoke, but other parts of the country may be. So let's go and look at the models and talk a little more about Hurricane Milton. We'll again go to current storms here and just take a look at, this is Hurricane Leslie. So this is Leslie here. That's Leslie, and then we have Kirk. Now, Kirk looks extratropical, but it's Milton. Milton, yeah, this is rapidly strengthening. And it's, oh, look at that last burst there. It says GOES data is running behind. Some images may delay. But look at that last burst right there. That's an incredible amount of convection right there. I mean, that is truly incredible. It really is. It really is. So, oops. Let's go to, what am I looking for now? I'm looking for these spaghetti models. So let's look at some spaghetti models. Track, I mean, there's not a whole lot of variation in the track. Somewhere it's going to go over the middle part of Florida. I don't think the center is going to go over South Florida. But we have to watch and see the size of the storm, because the bigger it gets, the more Florida it's going to cover. And look at these. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, this thing is going to be a Category 4 probably, and some models even have it as a Category 5. This is going to absolutely devastate Tampa. Oh, my God. So this is definitely a very bad situation that we have that we're going to be looking at. So we're going to be looking at all of this. So let's go now to the models. And actually, the first model we're going to go to actually is a model I didn't show you. That would be the HWRF, which is a hurricane model. All right, so this is a hurricane model, and this will kind of track Milton as it makes its way across the Gulf. And let me remind you again, the conditions in the Gulf are very favorable. We have very warm SSTs. Again, if we go to the Earth and Old School website, let's find that. Where is it? Where is it? I thought I had it up here. Right here. Right here. Okay. So, and again, you see 3. I mean, that's crazy right there. So, if we go to the ocean, sea surface temperature anomaly, yeah, still plenty of warm water to work with. You think Helene would have taken some of the energy out of there, but the Gulf is very warm, and the warm water goes deep. And the Gulf is shallow as it is, so the Gulf is really turning to be really, look at the warm string of water off the East Coast, too, by the way. So you can see, these oceans are just ridiculously above normal. Take a look at this, too. Yeah, we're going to talk about the ice, too, because it's very low, and we're not seeing much recovery on that. All right, so let's go back to the models here. So here is Milton, and we'll see it track across. It just continues to deepen, get deeper and deeper, and there it is. It weakens slightly before landfall. Whether we'll actually see that happen or not is another story. But this is an incredible storm right here. And if we go ahead and we look at the wind field on here, should have. Does this do wind? Yeah, here we go. Yeah, that is incredible wind field there. Yeah, somehow it weakens it right before it gets into. That weakens it way too quickly. I don't think it's going to weaken that quickly. So I don't know why the model wants to do that. But this thing is going to. Florida's pretty flat. It's not going to weaken that quickly. But you can see this thing, it looks like it has it making landfall late Wednesday night into Thursday morning into Tampa. So this is going to be really, really, really bad. And then we have other models to look at. So let's go ahead and look at those and the more standard models. But I figured I'd show you this one before we look at the standard one. So let's go to the GFS now. And we'll switch this back to this. All right. So this is, again, we're looking at the GFS track. Again, I have it on the hurricane. Let's just, I don't like when it moves with the hurricane. Can we just go to a regular regions, southeast? Yeah. I mean, to me, it just seems a little more dizzying. But you can see here, actually, we should have one for the Gulf. Do we have one for the Gulf or just have southeast? We just have the southeast. Okay. So this, again, shows the storm, and it's going to strengthen here. This actually kind of shows it on the very bottom there. You can see it. But you can see it's going to come up. It's going to sort of get pulled up a little bit there, and it's going to really intensify. And you can see it really just taking aim at, it looks like Tampa on this run. And again, the same time and everything. And we all know there would be a lot of rain. It does look like it's going to move through, it'll move across pretty quickly. And that's important, obviously. But this, again, is going to be, and we're going to be, like I said, looking at a lot more models over the coming days. I don't really spend too much time on this, but I just want to show you the potential to what we have here. That what could have happen. Now, I know the GFS is definitely not, is too weak on this storm. So let's go to the European next. And we'll go to the 12Z European. I think these models are underestimating it. You can see it's wrapped up, and then it kind of just... I wonder why the models are doing that. Let me just see something for a minute. 700 to 300. Probably dry air getting involved. Yeah, a little bit, but as we saw with Helene, I don't think these storms are going to weaken that much when they get in. I really don't. Shear. Not a lot. I think it's a little pick. You see how it's getting picked up by a little bit of that trough there that we have, and that's what's going to pick it up and pull it up over Florida. All right. Icon will be next. So here's the Icon model, and again the tracks. The tracks are pretty similar. One thing's for sure, a lot of rain is going to fall in this area. So if we look at total rainfall, you'll see again. Some areas could see a foot or more of rain. Other areas, 4 to 5 inches at the very least. But there will be a belt of very, very heavy rain that's going to cause some absolutely terrible flooding, of course. All right. But this is just to give you a rough idea of what could happen. We're going to be going over more of the models later. But let's go back to our regional discussion here. We're on the GFS. Let's look at the jet stream here. Show you what we got going on here. I'll back this up to today. So you can see there's that trough that's going to come through, bringing the cold front through. And you can see that trough kind of digs out in the east. And you can see it picks Milton up and then pushes it across Florida and then pushes it out, as you see there. As far as the jet stream goes, huge ridge in the west. And we're seeing some troughing in the east, which means that we will have a progressive pattern with cold fronts coming through. Here is the upper air, and again to show you how this is all going to work with Milton. There's the trough in the east, picks it up, pushes it and pulls it across Florida, and then it just kind of just fizzles it very quickly. Or I don't know why it's doing that. I don't see that happening that quickly. I really don't. Florida is relatively flat, and I just don't see it. Obviously, the west coast will get harder than the east coast, but this is still going to be a tough hit. And then you can see the trough in the east, but then as the weekend comes, we sort of get a little bit of ridging, and then more troughing as we get toward the middle of October. Some very strong lows. And look at that, another tropical system there that's showing up on this model here. We can look at the 12Z and see if we see any differences, because we know how the 18Z can be a little bit different. But yeah, they pretty much look similar at this point. So let's go to the European model now. 12Z. See if we see any differences here on this. Euro, the shape of the trough's definitely a little more different and deeper on the Euro, it looks like. But we do see, yeah, we don't even get that. We don't really see much ridging for the weekend. So, again, it'll just be a northwesterly flow, staying in a cool pattern as we get without many rain chances. So now that we looked at the upper air, let's go and look at the surface and back to the GFS, meaning that they are not really showing huge differences here. Let's look at this, all right, because, again, not going to be a lot of rain. Except the cold front, that's what we got. And then that high builds in, and then we're going to be in a northwest flow. Maybe I have a little bit of a cutoff low over here, throwing some clouds our way. Here's Milton. Another high comes through, comes down later in the week. And Milton stays off to the south. But again, we might get some rough ocean with the tracking offshore like that. See a little bit of ridging, and the next week here comes an even colder air mass coming down with another high. As you can see here, if we look at our temperature anomaly chart here, The above normal temperatures are going to start disappearing as we head into this week. So things start cooling down, and then you can see cooling down even a little more as we get toward the end of the week. See above normal in the west, and then we get an even bigger cool down as we get toward the middle of the month. That's some really cold air coming down for next week showing. So a pretty progressive pattern here. Not a lot of rain either. Not a lot of rain. So if we go back to the Weather Prediction Center, which I probably closed up here, we don't need to look at that. We can just use this. You'll see. Nope, not dew point. Also, first of all, the humidity is just kind of cut off. You can see that just by looking at this. You can see we have dry air in place, and with that, there's not going to be a whole lot of rain for us. We have a little bit with chances with the cold front. Obviously, a lot from Milton over Florida, but for the rest of the country, dry. Very dry. And that's not good as far as those wildfires go that are burning out west. They're going to continue to burn. So let's go and take a closer look at our area. We'll look at some of the shorter range models now. HRRR. And we'll see how it does with this cold front that we have coming our way. So this is the cold front here. You can see it kind of just fizzles out. All the rain there, even some thunderstorms. It's going to be tough to even get a drop tomorrow morning. It might actually re-intensify as it gets further offshore. Maybe taps into some ocean moisture. So maybe Suffolk County, especially eastern Suffolk County, say east of Nichols Road or east of Route 112, more likely to see some rainfall tomorrow. That moves offshore, and then we just have, again, upstate there might be some instability showers. There may be some clouds. But other than that, it's going to stay dry. So looking at your dew points and wind flow here, dew points do come up overnight, but then the cold front comes through. Dew points drop into the 40s. And there they stay with dry air, 40s and 30s, low dew points, comfortable conditions. The temperatures, after warming up into the 70s earlier on, they're going to drop. But tomorrow night we'll be dropping 60s, 50s, even 40s perhaps by the morning. And maybe I can finally turn the air conditioner off. And then Tuesday, we're only going to be in the mid to upper 60s, I think. Much, much cooler conditions as we get toward Tuesday. GFS, you'll see what we're talking about here. So dew points, you stay in that northwest flow. He backs a little bit Tuesday night, but and then they show you a little bit of backing for Wednesday. I don't know if I'm buying that. And then Thursday, we get another shot, north-northwest winds, north-northeast winds, staying in that northerly flow. Here we are on the weekend. You see the westerly to southwesterly flow, a little bit of moderation there. But then here comes the next shot for the next weekend. And that, see how dry those dew points are. You know you're dealing with cool air from Canada. And you'll see there's the heat goes away. We are Tuesday, cooler. Temperatures low 70s. Upper 60s Thursday, upper 60s, and then warms up Saturday. We'll get a warm up on the weekend, and then next week we're going to have days where we're going to be struggling to reach the 50s next week, so it's going to be chilly. Skies. Let's look at that. So here we go. Obviously clouds overnight and to start tomorrow, and then increasing sun by later in the afternoon. Tuesday should be a mostly sunny day. Maybe some pop-up clouds. Wednesday, maybe dealing with a little more of those pop-up instability clouds. We'll have to watch the cloud shield from Milton, but I think it stays to the south. Here we are Thursday, Friday. Maybe we get some of that Friday, and then Saturday. Yeah, you can still see that a little interesting gap there, but it looks like mostly sunny conditions will be, though there may be, again, some pop-up stratocumulus at times, which may result in more clouds. Let's look at the RGM here. So here you go. You can see clears out, but then you have a little bit of pop-up stratocumulus. And then Tuesday, probably may get some pop-up stratocumulus later in the afternoon. Wednesday, maybe showing a little bit less of it. And then we have to watch the cloud shield from Milton. We have to see how large Milton becomes because, again, as it gets further, it's going to become a larger storm. And we're going to look at that. You can kind of see that already when you look at, again, let's go back to the models here. We get the eastern U.S. And you'll see what I mean, how it grows. So we're back on the GFS. So you can see how the size of it grows. And that's something that we'll have to watch, obviously. And again, we'll be talking plenty about Milton. Um, let's just give you an idea, of what could happen here. So I'll go back to the Ventus sky here, and we'll move this over here. So here is, we'll go to wind gusts. This is not Milton, right? Whoa. What happened here? What happened? Where are we? I don't even know where we are. What just happened here? All right. Now here's Milton right here. All right. So you'll take this along. We'll watch how it's going to strengthen here. That's going to tomorrow. You can see how it's going to strengthen as we're tracking along here. Might interact with the Yucatan a little bit, but here we go into Wednesday. Now this is underdoing it. This model is seriously underdoing it. It's going to be stronger than this. But it looks like it takes aim at Tampa here. And as you can see how it's gaining strength as it approaches Tampa. This is just some of the idea of what could happen here. Miami may avoid the worst part of this, but again, Tampa, this thing is going to go right. Well, yeah, I think you'll even have some effects on Miami, some power outages, but this is going to really be bad for Tampa. All right, this is the this is what model this is using. I think the Icon. Yeah, Icon. All right, let's go to windy.com, which of course I feel is better and more accurate. I don't know why I waste my time with that site, because honestly, it is. By the way, here is this is Leslie, and this is Kirk. We're just going to head out. So we're going to just put things in motion here. You'll see Kirk heading out toward the United Kingdom, and they're going to have to deal with that. Or not the United Kingdom, but it's going to head toward France, I think. It could be the United Kingdom, but it's going to head toward France. And here is, put this into wind gusts. Wind gusts. Yeah, this is going to be a powerful storm. You can see that. Again, the models, I think, are on this. This thing is going to just explode. You can see how it's exploding already. And you're talking, where I think this has the potential to be a Category 5 storm, perhaps. Hey, look at that, right over Tampa. So this is what we're going to have here, approaching Tampa Wednesday night. This is going to be really bad. And honestly, with these winds here that are going to be in Tampa, and look at these winds just offshore here, there's going to be, these communities along the coast are going to get they're going to get, I mean, if Helene didn't mess them up, this is going to destroy a lot of this area, unfortunately. It really is. Tampa included, even though it's a little more inland, I think they might have to evacuate the city. That's how I think that way, because I know it's low-lying, and there's going to be flooding between the rain and the wind coming in, the water coming in. Though the wind is offshore, I guess you could say, so that might help. But then when the storm passes, you got to remember it's going to have the storm surge with it. So that is a big concern. And we all know what happens if it tracks further north, tracks further south. But this is going to be a huge mess. And of course, power. They have some pretty robust infrastructure there with the power lines, but with these kind of winds, even if there aren't concrete towers, those wires are going to be hitting each other, and they're going to lock out. You're going to have transmission lines locking out one by one. And honestly, with this kind of setup, I think the whole city is going to go dark. I'd be surprised if any power stays on there. We're going to now go and look at the water, the waves. Let's see. We go back to the waves, because this is our concern here. Obviously, a lot of storm surge, and you can see here, 20-footers coming in. So this is just going to give you an idea of what they're going to be dealing with over here. And even on the east coast of Florida, you're still going to be dealing with Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale. I mean, these areas are still going to be dealing with some strong winds and power outages and possible storm surge, especially if this becomes a large storm. So, again, the state of Florida, a lot of people want to move there, but I'm telling you, if there's any state at all that's going to get destroyed by climate change, it's going to be Florida, because it's low-lying. I don't know why anyone would want to move there. It's just low-lying. It's a shame, because it's a beautiful state, but honestly, I don't see Florida being around in 20 years if the right things are going. I really don't. no matter how much you have because it's low lying, and the waters are just going to keep getting warmer. But I guess that leads us into the next thing that we'll talk about. Obviously, the state of the ice, because that is also, and I'll do the climate at the end here. But sea ice today, the new abnormal. So here we go. This actually just came out. Since 2007, the Arctic sea ice minimum has dropped below 5 million square kilometers every year. Such low extents would be hard to imagine in the 90s, when the extent averaged 6.46 million square kilometers. The persistent new normal and related losses, most of the old and thick ice, are prominent characteristics of the new, warmer Arctic. So this is what's going on. So take a look at our Arctic sea ice extent graph. Where's our year here? I guess, let's see. 2024 is over here, the blue. Yeah, we're down near the bottom here. All right, well near the bottom. So not the worst on record, but definitely with all these warm water temperatures, you're just not getting the recoveries that you're seeing here. So let's see. We go to sea ice today. I think this is what we look at here. So this is another chart here, and you can see here. Look at that. We're near the bottom here. Not as bad as 2012, but we're low. And you can see there's it's a lot of thin ice though. So the sea ice growth. This is all affecting the jet stream. It's all affecting the climate systems, and this is why we're seeing such chaos and those warmer water temperatures with all these tropical storms. It's very disturbing. So here's your 6 to 10 day outlook, and you'll notice I'm surprised they don't have below normal here, considering the cold air that we're going to be getting. But I guess because that cold air is going to be with us maybe for 2 days, and then the rest of the air masses might be above normal. It might be offset, but you notice the west way above normal in the west. Precipitation below normal pretty much in the whole country, except the extreme northeast and the west coast, and just above normal in the Pacific Northwest. We go to the 8 to 14 day, and you see that near normal in the east, but much of the west above normal, well above normal temperatures, below normal precipitation for much of the country, except above normal over Florida because of Milton. And again, all very disturbing stuff. We go to visualize things in Ventusky, and we'll just take this out just to show you kind of what I'm talking about here. And you can see the ridge that kind of stretches way up in here. So go over here. You can see that ridge that kind of stretches way up over here. All right. So we go into next week. There will be a cool down. But you see that ridge kind of build. Luckily, it doesn't go too far into Canada, but definitely in the west, you definitely see those above normal temperatures. They're going to continue. The heat and continuing in the west. We just move this back. You can see where the heat is. It's in the west, and that's where it's going to be dealing with west and southwest, the plains. Luckily for us, again, look at that heat that we're going to. This is Thursday, Wednesday. A lot of heat in the west. So, yeah, we've got a crazy situation, but luckily for us here on Long Island, we are avoiding things so far. We're enjoying calm weather, and it's not even, the only problem is it's been too calm, and we're not getting any rain, and that's a big problem. So let's just look at the lightning maps for a moment. Let's see. We look at this line here of thunderstorms here, because it's actually producing a decent amount of lightning. Unfortunately, it will fizzle by the time it gets here, so we'll have to see if any of us will see some rain tomorrow or not. But let's go ahead and look at one more thing, and that is the MODIS satellite. So let's do that, and kind of just show you, give you a little portrait here of all the hurricanes that we have out there. Give you a little portrait here of what's going on here. Milton, Leslie, and Kirk right here. So there's your little portrait, your cold front right there. So tomorrow I'll be back. We're going to be talking about Milton, and we'll be tackling Milton and updating you every night, and especially Wednesday night as it makes land, as it threatens Florida, obviously. Praying for everybody in Florida. It's a beautiful state, but unfortunately, they have very good infrastructure, hard infrastructure, but No matter how much you do it, you cannot going to be able to beat two things, and that's the fact that Florida is low-lying, and the storm surges and the rising seas. It's just a matter of time before Florida, most of Florida, not all of it, but a lot of the areas that are where a lot of the major cities and where people are living, unfortunately, are going to be underwater for good, and that's unfortunate. But this is part of what we're dealing with. I know that Florida might be a well-run state. I know their governor denies climate change. He actually doesn't want it mentioned. So I don't know what it's going to take for people to wake up in that state. Obviously, a lot of people just are ignorant. But I think that after what's going on this year, I think it's going to wake a lot of people up. It's unfortunate. It really is. But anyway, yep, this is Kirk heading for Europe. So, it just goes to show you, even in Europe, I know eventually you're going to have a pattern where it'll go and hit Greenland too. That's going to happen too eventually. But anyway, that is going to do it for this Long Island weather report. Have a good night.